Hey there guys, welcome back to another Sports Stuff video. Today, we are talking about the Tennessee Titans and how I would change their roster. So if you guys do enjoy, please do like, comment, subscribe. That's the end of the video. So obviously, this is always going to be different than my off-season plan. I never go in-depth about money. I never go in-depth with actual guys I would sign. I never include guys that actually draft. This is always a overview of how I would overhaul a roster and a coaching staff, and usually a front office as well. So guys, I've got a few comments asking about the offseason plans during the offseason. This is never going to be as in depth as those. It will always be about roster change that needs to happen to not repeat how the first 6 weeks of the NFL season have gone so far. So, if you guys enjoy, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into it. Tennessee Titans roster change. What is the goal in today's video? The goal is to find a head coach to properly develop Cam Ward, because obviously Brian Callahan, one, cannot do it. Two, already give up his play calling duties, and three, is going to be fired at the end of the season. Build a top 16 defense. This defense is putrid. The only player on defense worth talking about is Jeffrey Simmons. Everyone else can either go because they're not good or stay because they're young and they're developing. I want to rebuild this offensive line. They cannot stop a nosebleed, so I want to rebuild the offensive line completely, and I want to create a culture of winning. That may not mean you win every single game in the NFL, but the culture is we're going to fight, fight, fight until we can win that, and that's the goal. So what do we do first? First, we're going to hire Mike McCarthy to be the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. If you watched my video last week, you know I'm very high on Mike McCarthy as the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans. He's a Super Bowl winning head coach. He has a career winning record percentage of 60%, and that is 174 to 112 games. He definitely feels like Tennessee is going to be going to the veteran head coach this time around. After Mike Vrabel, who was doing a really good job as a head coach, they fire him for whatever reason. They go with a rookie head coach, and he doesn't really do anything. He can't develop Will Levis. He can't develop Cam Ward. He can't scheme an offense to win a game. What we know about Mike McCarthy is he can develop quarterbacks, he can get the most out of quarterbacks, and he can scheme an offense to be potent. Whether it's in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, in Dallas with Dak Prescott, or now in Tennessee, I do think Cam Ward is the quarterback Mike McCarthy would love to have. Big arm, loves to sling the ball. I said pre-draft that Cam Ward, his comp is Dak Prescott and Joe Burrow. That's the type of quarterback he wants to be. He wants to sit in the pocket, make the big explosive play, and always try and look for that in a play. And Mike McCarthy's always going to scheme open a big play. So I think it's a great scheme fit and a great route for Cam Ward and Mike McCarthy. Who am I going to cut and who am I going to trade? So the five guys I decide that I need to cut and or trade throughout this process is Calvin Ridley, L'Jarius Sneed, Tony Pollard, Peter Skoronski, and Jeffrey Simmons. All of them for different reasons. Calvin Ridley, for one, he's not really doing much with Cam Ward right now. He makes a lot of money, and while the Titans do have a lot of money going into 2025 or 2026 offseason, my goal is to open up as much cap space as possible while retaining the talent I want to keep long term. Calvin Ridley is on the bad side of 30. He makes a lot of money, and he's not producing. I think there's teams out there in the NFL that would like Calvin Ridley and the skills that he offers, but right now, Elik Anyamanor is the only wide receiver I see long term staying in this room. Then L'Jarius Sneed, what a whiff of a trade from the Tennessee Titans from the Kansas City Chiefs. L'Jarius has not lived up to any amount of money in Tennessee. He probably isn't even the best corner on this team next to Roger McCreary and Jalen Armour Davis. So I want to try and find a way to either cut and or trade him. Tony Pollard, the running back. Right now, Tyjae Spears, due to Tony Pollard being injured, is playing really well. So for me, I don't want to pay Tony Pollard $8 million a year when I have Tyjae Spears who plays just as good as him right now. I can just, cut or trade Tony Pollard to a team that needs running back right now to try and win when we're 0-5. Peter Skoronski, a young offensive guard. He was drafted to be a tackle, but his arm length kind of limited him at tackle. And for some reason, Bill Callahan has not had a lot of success developing Peter Skoronski. Now, I still have a very high opinion of him. Formerly drafted number 11 overall, I still have a high opinion of Peter Skoronski. But maybe a new change of scenery, a new scheme, new coaching, and how they coach will be best with Peter Skoronski. He's only 23 years old, so he is still very young. Then we have Jeffrey Simmons, obviously the franchise piece, the franchise building block, if you want to say, on defense. There is definitely going to be value for him out there in the NFL world. And is it worth it to have a 29, 30, 31-year-old D tackle on your team? Or is it worth it to trade a 27, 20-year-old in their prime to a team for the most amount of draft capital you can get? So that's the guys I'm going to want to cut and trade. Now, who am I going to keep long term? So obviously Cam Ward, so far through 5 weeks, he's shown that he can make the big throws, he can make the big plays, and I want him at quarterback at least for his rookie contract. Then Elick Enyemana, again, another wide receiver. I think he just shown really good value for where he was taken in the draft. This dude has made big play after big play. Cam Ward obviously likes him, and I'm very excited to see what Elick Enyemana can become throughout his NFL career. J.C. Latham, the right tackle. Yes, he's still on the worst offensive line in the NFL right now, but he is the youngest piece. And again, he's a second-year player who I really like coming out of the draft. He's a great run blocker. Honestly, needs to work on his pass blocking a little bit more, but when it comes to run blocking, J.C. Latham is still very good. Chigga Okonkwo, Okonkwo is still one of my favorite tight ends in the league. Very athletic, can jump up and get the ball. He loves to play physical and demanding football, and he's a good run blocker. So I think Chigga Okonkwo is one of the only pieces on offense I want to extend long term. Roger McCreary, he's a free agent this year. He's really developed into a really good corner throughout his career. Had his ups and downs, but in the last year and a half, I say he's definitely deserving of a contract. And all rookie contract players I want to keep on this roster because, again, cheap talent is hard to find in the NFL. So if you're on a rookie contract, I want to keep you until the end of their contract pops up. Salary cap before any trades or cuts. As you can see, entering 2026, we're at $112 million. That's a great number to be at for a team that needs to make a lot of moves to get good. Midseason trades in 2025. First off, I want to trade Calvin Ridley to the New England Patriots. The Patriots right now, while their wide receiver core is not bad, obviously you have Stephon Diggs, Demario Douglas, Kyle Williams, Efton Chisholm. You have a lot of guys that you like. I think Calvin Ridley can be the big play explosive guy for this offense. Let him run like 4 or 5 go routes and let Drake May throw it up to him. I think that's exactly what Calvin Ridley would need to thrive in the system. And also on top of that, I just see that Calvin Ridley needs to change the scenery. It's just what it is. It's not working out in Tennessee. He played pretty well. I think it was his first year he was in Tennessee. Calvin played pretty well, but he has really fallen off in the last year. I need him to move away so that he can, honestly, he's become another wide receiver that actually is worth a damn on a roster. So we're going to trade Calvin Ridley to the New England Patriots for a 2026 5th-round pick. And then next, we'll be trading Tony Pollard to the Arizona Cardinals for a 2026 6th-round pick. The Cardinals, both Trey Benson's down and James Conner's out for the season. Emery DeMarcado, they promoted to be their starting running back, and he completely whipped away that chance of being a starter for the rest of the year. So I think the Cardinals are sitting at 2-3. They think they can win the division still. I think they really want to try and compete right now. And I think Tony Pollard, while he is injured as of this recording, once he's healthy, I think if he has 1 or 2 games that are pretty solid play time, I think they can easily flip him for a 6th-round pick to the Arizona Cardinals. So Austin cuts and or trades. First off, we're going to be doing a Jeffrey Simmons to the Green Bay Packers for a 2026 2nd-round pick. Jeffrey Simmons is already signed to a long-term contract, so the Packers don't have to worry about paying him. I think they're trying to win right now, so if the Packers don't win the Super Bowl this year, I think they want to reload on their defense. I think they're offensively, they have what they want. They got the quarterback, they have a bunch of wide receivers, they have running backs, they have an offensive line, they have tight ends. They got what they want on offense. I think defense is where they need to improve. And Keyshawn Nixon is holding down the fort at corner. He's playing really well. They have a good safety duo. Their linebackers are playing well. But their defensive line outside of Lucas Van Ness and Micah Parsons are bad, right? I think we can all agree that Devontae Wyatt has not developed how we wanted him to. So I think they want to jumpstart that defensive line with next to Micah Parsons by trading for Jeffrey Simmons. And they traded 2026 2nd-round pick. I don't see you going to get anything more than that for Jeffrey Simmons. Again, he's the best piece in this team. Doesn't mean he's a top 5 defensive lineman in the NFL. He's not. He's a very good D tackle, right? Very good. But he's not a defensive line elevator. He doesn't elevate talent around him. But I think in Green Bay next to Micah Parsons, he can then, this would be a steal of a trade because he's next to one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. And you get a 2nd-round pick for him. That's not bad. A couple years removed from him being drafted 1st overall, you get a second out of him. That's pretty solid. I am not going to be trading L'Jarius Sneed. I don't think anyone wants to trade for that contract. So we're going to be cutting him to save $16 million in cap space. You do a post-June 1st cut. He gets cut. He can sign elsewhere. Maybe go back to Kansas City. But you just move on from that trade. You save the money, and you keep it moving. Then we're going to be trading Peter Skoronski again to the New England Patriots for a 2027 3rd. I just think, again, it needs to change its scenery. I think the entire offensive staff is going to get fired. I think the entire coaching staff is going to get fired. So Peter Skoronski is going to be a previous regime draft pick. He hasn't developed in 2 years. I think you can flip him for a 3rd-round pick. He's only 23 years old. I think the New England Patriots, they want to get younger on the offensive line. They want to get better. And I think Peter Skoronski is better than what they have at guard right now. Honestly, Mike Amanu is really good. But they got a couple of veterans that are, on expiring contracts or older. I think Peter Skoronski next to Will Campbell can be your left tackle, left guard duo for the next 10 years if he can develop in New England. So new extensions, I'm going to say none for right now. I want everyone to be I don't want to predict what the next head coach wants to do. So like guys, like I said earlier, Chase Okonkwo, I would extend him, but I don't know what the coaching staff is going to do when they want to extend people, right? I'm just a little worried about that. Roger McCreary, I wanted to extend, but I don't know what the next coach staff wants. So I'm going to say no extensions right now because I don't know what Mike McCarthy would want to do. So salary cap after trades, we opened from 112 to 171. We opened up $70 million of cap space to go out and improve this roster. Nearly $200 million in cap space. You can go from zero to hero right away. So going with the draft capital, in 2026, after all those trades, you would have a first, 2 seconds, a third, a fourth, 2 fifths, a sixth, and 2 sevenths. That is 10 draft picks you would get in this upcoming draft before any trades on top of what I already offered, and comp picks as well. Then in 2027, you have a first, a second, 2/3, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, and a seventh. That is 8 draft picks. That is 18 young players you can induce into this roster within the next 12 calendar months. That'd be ideal for this team, right? They want to go young. They want to build around Cam Ward. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. So now you have what? 4 picks in the top 110. That's valuable. That is very valuable ammunition to get 4 of the top 100 draft picks in this class. That's amazing. So in the first, probably want to go, I don't know, probably want to go offensive line, right? Protect Cam Ward. In the second, maybe grab a wide receiver and a running back. In the third, grab a defensive lineman. But this is the positions I would draft. As I said, wide receiver, running back, offensive guard, and all of defense. Because again, all of defense, I want every single position I can draft. At wide receiver, I would want a game-breaking wide receiver. You know, whether it's Jordan Tyson, Nick Harbor, Carnell Tate, whatever you want to do at wide receiver, that's what I would want to do. At running back, it would definitely be a day 2 pick. I haven't done much running back depth in draft analysis yet, so I only know Jeremiah Love. I don't really want to know about anyone else right now. Guard, there's a lot of guards and centers in day 2 and day 3. I think you can really get, whether it's Jake Slaughter can fall in the first round, Connor Liu. There's a couple of guards and centers I really like. Then all of defense, again, it's any defensive player you can draft, you need to draft them. So this is currently the 2026 season depth chart. Technically, it's the 2025 season depth chart that's playing right now. Here's how I would change it for next season. As you can see, massive changeover. At wide receiver, for example, we moved on from Calvin Ridley. What I would do, Juwan Jennings, wide receiver from the 49ers, I would get him in Tennessee. I think him and Cam Ward would really gel well together. Juwan Jennings is a big play possession receiver. He can, if you throw the ball to him 5-6 times a game, he's going to get 80% of the balls and get lots of first downs. Then I'd also get Elijah Moore from the Buffalo Bills. This is your slot receiver for the future. While I like Elic Enyemana and Xavier Restrepo, I think Elijah Moore could be that, 7 or 8 targets a game, just move the chains type of slot guy. Then I also would draft a wide receiver. Again, like I said, if you see multiple names, so like, for example, if I drafted a quarterback, I'd have Cam Ward and Cam Ward at quarterback. So Elic Enyemana is obviously the starter. That's a real Elic Enyemana. Then the second Elic Enyemana is a draft pick. I would draft a wide receiver very high in the NFL draft to pair them with Cam Ward for their career. Then at left tackle, you have Dan Moore. I would also sign Trevor Penning to be your backup left tackle. Again, young offensive lineman that can come in on a 1-year deal, very cheap. And you can develop him, awesome. You can move on from Dan Moore after the 2026 season and move forward with Trevor Penning. If it doesn't work out, it's a 1-year deal for a very young tackle. That's not awful. Then at left guard, I would move for Wyatt Teller. I think what this offense can do with Cam Ward, you want a Wyatt Teller type of guard. He's having an okay year. Again, nothing special. Not his best season in the NFL, but it's still a quality season. I think he is going to get lots and lots of movement to get him on other teams' teams. But yeah, the most money in free agency. You can offer him more money than anyone else. And again, be a starting guard. He's 30 years old, signed a 3 or 4 year deal to be the guard for the youngest franchise quarterback in the league right now in Cam Ward, who's exciting to play with. Then I would also draft an offensive guard. As you can see, 2 Trevor Pennings. I would draft an offensive guard pretty high in the draft as well, maybe in the 4th round, to learn under Wyatt Teller. And after his contract kind of either goes up or you can move off of his contract, you go grab Trevor Penning, you go grab that rookie, and they can start in a year or 2. Lloyd Cushenberry, you're keeping Lloyd Cushenberry. Jackson Slater, I actually really liked from Sac State in this previous draft. So we're gonna give Jackson Slater a chance to start at right guard. Then again, I will draft another guard to replace Jackson Slater if he isn't good enough. They can start right away, or they back up Jackson Slater, and then you have 3 young offensive linemen and Trevor Penning and 2 rookies that for 1 or 2 years, if they develop quickly, they can start. If they don't develop, you can just move on from them and not really worry about it. Then at right tackle, you keep J.C. Latham, you keep Brandon Crenshaw, who you just drafted out of the out of Florida last year. I like this new offensive line. Dan Moore makes too much money for bad play. Yes, that's why you have Trevor Penning on a 1-year deal. If Dan Moore's piss poor, you start Trevor Penning, and you have 2 young rookie contract guys that you can maybe develop at guard and have them start within the next year or 2. Tight end, you have Chiggs Okonkwo, you have Gunnar Helm. I'm good at tight ends. At quarterback, you have Cam Ward, and I think grabbing Carson Wentz is the move. Carson Wentz is bouncing around the league right now because I think he's a pretty good mentor when it comes to like, hey, the NFL is a not for long league. Here's what you need to do to maintain your starting position and how you can develop in the NFL. There's a reason Carson Wentz bounces around. There's a reason the Chiefs wanted Carson Wentz as a backup. There's a reason that the Vikings wanted him as a backup. I think Carson Wentz is very valuable to a lot of NFL franchises because he's shown that he could be a franchise quarterback and it slipped away. And I think that is something that's valuable for young quarterbacks to learn. And I think Cam Ward would love to have a Carson Wentz presence in the locker room. And then at running back, I am going to sign Breece Hall. He's a free agent this offseason. I don't know if they're going to sign him. I really don't know if the Jets are going to re-sign him. So I'm going to go out and sign Breece Hall on a multi-year contract. Get him as my running back 1 next to Tyjae Spears. So Tyjae Spears and Breece Hall, that's my running back duo for the next 2 or 3 years. I am very happy if that's my running back duo. Breece Hall and Tyjae Spears play similarly, but I think Breece Hall is a better receiving back than Tyjae Spears. But I think both of them are big play backs. And I'm also going to be drafting another running back. As you can see, I have 2 Breece Halls. Probably in like the 5th or 6th round. Maybe drafting a thumper at running back, right? Someone who's more of a power back than a scat back. Someone who can just take the ball on 3rd down, get that 3rd and 1 yard. I think that's what you want to get at the 3rd running back position with Breece Hall and Tyjae Spears. So they all kind of cover different parts of the game. Then on the defensive line, I want to sign DJ Reader to be my 3-4 defensive ends. I think this defensive line needs to get improved immediately. So I'm going to go and get DJ Reader, who, again, in his NFL career, has had lots and lots of success against the run. Yes, in Detroit, he's kind of taking a step back a little bit. But I think get him in Tennessee, have him start day 1, and next to Devondre Sweat, that is a scary run-stopping duo. Then I'm going to sign Charles Omenihu as well to be that more pass-rushing 3-4 defensive end for this team. He's, again, he kind of bounced around the league for the last, 5 years. He kind of found a home in Kansas City for a little bit. But I think Charles Omenihu, he's good for 3 or 4 sacks a year. That's valuable in a defense that can't get sacks right now. Then I'm going to be drafting another defensive lineman in a 3-4 defense. As you can see, Charles Omenihu. This would be one of my top 100 picks. I think wide receiver, offensive lineman, and pass rusher needs to be in the top 100 picks of this team's draft. So Charles Omenihu is going to be a 2nd or 3rd round pick. The second depth guy. That's something you need to get a rookie in that room. Then at pass rusher, I think Sam Williams from the Dallas Cowboys. He's played really well this year for Dallas in a more elevated role post Micah Parsons. And they drafted a lot of young pass rushers in this last class. So I think Sam Williams is on his outside looking in for a contract extension, especially with all the contract extensions they've been doing. There's a reason Sam hasn't gotten one. So he's going to come over to the Tennessee Titans, start for them day 1. Then we're going to draft a pass rusher again. I think this could be a 4th or 5th round draft pick at pass rusher on a 3-4 outside linebacker. A 3-4 outside linebacker. Then Olu Oladejo, who was just drafted out of UCLA, I'm a big fan of. I want him still on this roster. Then at middle linebacker, I want to sign Alex Singleton to be next to Cody Barton. I want to get a very good inside linebacker duo. I like Cedric Gray a lot from UNC, but listen, I want veterans day 1 who can help this team get back on a winning path. And while the young guys do help win, I want my veterans to start and get them on a winning path and teach them, hey, this is how you win in the NFL. So Cody Barton's already there. I want to get Alex Singleton. Because again, Denver obviously want to move on from him, especially when they sign someone like Dre Greenlaw. They're not going to have Alex Singleton long term. I think him next to Cody Barton could be a really good duo. Then as you can see, I want to draft 2 linebackers. This is probably like a 6th and a 7th round pick. Guys that might make the roster, might not. But I want more young linebacker depth. So that's why I have 2 Cody Bartons at the fringe end of the roster. Get 2 more rookies in this room. Then in the opposite 3-4 outside linebacker pass rusher position, I want to sign Jalen Phillips from the Miami Dolphins. Phillips' pre-ACL injury was having like 6 sacks in 4 games, and he tore his ACL last year. This year, he's looked okay, nothing special, but I think give him another year removed from the ACL, get him in the Tennessee Titans defense where he's going to start for them day 1 immediately. I think that could be really good for Jalen Phillips' development, and you can get him for dirt cheap, and you can get a potential starting 3-4 outside linebacker who's only like 25 or 26 years old. Secondary, not a lot of changes. Again, Amani Hooker I want to keep. Kevin Winston Jr., I want him to start at free safety. I think he's actually a pretty solid free safety from Penn State. But as you can see, I think the big move they're going to make at corner is going to be Greg Newsome. Yes, Greg Newsome, who was just traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I thought they would have announced already a contract extension for Greg, but that has not happened. I think they're going to wait till the end of the season because the Jaguars, they wanted out of Tyson Campbell's contract. $19 million a year. They wanted out of it. Greg Newsome on a 1-year deal. If he's good, you can extend him. If he's not good, you move on from him. I think Tennessee, this is the move for a number 1 corner. You go and get Greg Newsome on a multi-year deal. You pair him next to Roger McCreary, who you extend, and Jalen Armour-Davis. That's a cornerback room I trust in and I believe can be really good. And as you can see, I would still draft 2 more corners. I think drafting more corner depth has to happen. Darrell Baker, he hasn't really worked out in the NFL yet. I like Jarvis Brownlee from Louisiana. I like Marcus Harris from Cal. They're interesting depth guys. But I think they need more depth, more younger guys in this defense. So grab another corner or 2 in this draft, and that's the goal. So that is 10 rookies that you draft. A wide receiver, 2 offensive linemen, a running back, a defensive lineman, a pass rusher, 2 linebackers, and 2 corners. That's what I'm doing in this upcoming draft. Whoever it is, let it be who it is. But I think that's the route they need to go in the draft. And this is what I'm doing for agency. Get key impact players that can help you today and take a lot of 1-year flyers on guys that have had injuries in the past or haven't really developed. Get 1-year flyers. If they turn out good, you sign them to an extension. If they don't work out, they're 1-year deals, you move on. So yeah, that is my Tennessee Titans roster teardown, how I would fix them, and how I would try and move forward for the future, build around Cam Ward, and trying to get this team on a winning path. So if you guys enjoy, please do like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.